Moments ago, about an hour ago, I visited with White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs. We kind of got into it. I kicked things off by asking him about Senator DeMint's latest Waterloo comments. Good evening, Mr. Gibbs. Good to have you with us tonight on The Ed Show. I appreciate your time.
Happy to be here.
You bet. I'd like you to address the comments from South Carolina Senator Jim DeMint today. He referred back to his Waterloo comments, says he wasn't looking for vindication, but he does believe that he gave the call to arms to the independent voters in Massachusetts, and he went so far to say that if the president and the Democrats don't get the message from Massachusetts, it will be their Waterloo. What's the White House response to that?
Well, look, one of the things that happened yesterday as this election was going on in Massachusetts, health insurance stocks gained $4 billion in market capitalization as a result of yesterday's election. So understand clearly that Jim DeMint and others have positioned themselves lock, stock, and barrel, if I can use that reference, on working on behalf of insurance companies to prevent people from getting the type of reforms and the type of affordable health care that they need. That's one of the arguments that we're going to have going forward. Are you on the side of big insurance companies preventing children from getting access to health insurance that have pre-existing conditions, or are you on the side of that family? I think Senator DeMint and everybody is going to have to answer to the voters on that question next year.
So why didn't the independent voters in Massachusetts get that message? What happened?
Well, I think there's plenty of blame to go around for what happened yesterday in Massachusetts. The White House will take its portion of that blame. I think campaigns matter. We've got to run stronger, better campaigns, and we've got to put these choices directly to the American people.
Does the White House shoulder any responsibility for losing the seat that Ted Kennedy held for over 40 years?
I don't think there's any doubt, Ed, as I said earlier, that we bear some responsibility. I think there are many people that do, the Coakley campaign, other Democratic organizations in this town. We all bear some responsibility because, as I said yesterday in the White House, the president was surprised and frustrated to be at this point because we always believed we'd win this seat, and we didn't.
Mr. Gibbs, the White House has taken a great deal of criticism from the Democratic base for not being tough enough or strong enough on health care reform and playing into this stall game that the Republicans have enacted that started back in July, actually. And then today, the late news was that Senator Harry Reid says that nothing else is going to be done on health care until Scott Brown, the senator from Massachusetts, is seated, when he has been advertised as the 41st vote to block health care reform. Does the president go along with this strategy to wait for an obstructionist to show up at the United States Senate? Why not move forward?
Well, Ed, we've got a bill that's passed the United States Senate, and one of the ways that is being discussed to get health care reform, to make it a reality, is to have the House work on the Senate bill. But, Ed, the president agrees that the people in Massachusetts have spoken, whether we endorse that candidate or not, and health care reform legislation isn't going to go through the Senate until Senator-elect Brown becomes Senator Brown. But that doesn't have to stop health care reform, Ed. The president understands the anger and the frustration that the American people feel about the economic situation that this country is facing, that we have 10% unemployment, that millions of people have lost their jobs over the course of the last 2 years in a recession, and even before that, they felt economic insecurity. The president understands that anger, but that doesn't mean we'll stop fighting for middle-class families, and that we'll stop fighting to make college more affordable, to create clean energy jobs. That's not the message from this election. That's certainly not what the president said.
Does the president feel like his base is with him? Because there's been a lot of criticism from the left. And even after this election, he's going to be closely watched on which way he goes. That there was a sellout to Big Pharma. That this deal with big insurance is nothing but a gift to the insurance industry.
Now, hold on, Ed. Let's call a quick timeout here. I'll just take a 20-second timeout.
Okay.
The insurance companies are fighting what we're trying to do.
Well,
this can't be a sell. No. Hold on. I know it's the Ed Show, but it's Robert's time for just 20 seconds.
Exactly. Okay.
No. But if what happened yesterday caused insurance stocks to increase in a market cap by $4 billion, and the guy they elected wants to stop health care, how is it I don't understand the math that would make what we're trying to do pro big health insurance.
Well,
look, Ed, I hear that as a criticism,
yeah.
But I know there are smart people like you. There are smart people like me. There's smart people all across the country that understand that's simply not the case. And I think to continue to say that does a tremendous disservice for all of those who have, through blood, sweat, and tears, gotten health care this close.
Well, why wasn't there...
Ed, let's not do what we're really good at in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Let's not get a big room, right? Let's not get a big room, get in a big circle, and fight with each other. Let's pass health care reform. Let's make sure that family in Waterloo, Iowa, who can't get health insurance reform because their child has a pre-existing condition, because a big insurance company in this country said, your child can't get covered because we determine he has a pre-existing condition. If we get this bill passed before the ink dries on that paper, Ed, that child in Waterloo, Iowa will be able to get health care reform because that insurance company won't be able to say no. And if you think the insurance companies are for that, let me tell you, I've got a bridge I'll sell you for cheap.
Well, I'll tell you what, I might take you up on that offer because the left-wing base of this country that supported this president does not believe that this White House fought hard enough for a public option or for a mechanism that would give direct competition to the insurance industry. Now, whether the stocks went up yesterday or not, the fact is that...
And if that were the case, why are the insurance companies buying ads fighting health insurance?
It's a nice shell game they're playing, Mr. Gibbs. It's a nice shell game they're playing. The fact is... No, wait a minute. Now, let me ask the question. Let me ask the question.
Somebody's going to ask you a couple questions. You're a smart guy.
I am a smart guy, and I know that 40 million customers are going to be handed to the insurance industry. Is that reform?
Ed, what we're going to do is make sure every person is covered. That's been the progressive dream for 40 years.
That's a good part of it.
But understand, Ed, we're going to make health insurance companies do what they don't want to do.
Okay.
If you think they want to give health insurance to that child who they say has a pre-existing condition...
Mr. Gibbs? Mr. Gibbs, why is your base disgruntled?
Ed, let's have a conversation. I won't talk over you. You won't talk over me.
Right.
But let me make my point.
Well, you filibustered me twice, but that's okay.
Okay, well, I don't want to use the term filibuster because, let's just be honest, you and I don't have the votes to do a filibuster right now,
that's
okay?
True.
So, let's understand this. If you think health insurance companies want to cover that child, why do they keep saying no to covering him now? Why will they be forced to cover him when we pass this bill? They don't like this bill, Ed. You know they don't like this bill.
No, I think that they do like this bill.
Let's tell people not what they want to hear, but what they need to know, which is the truth about the fact that health care reform is this close, Ed.
All right.
What you wanted for 40 years and what everybody else has is that close.
All right.
The health insurance companies don't like it. We're going to close this gap. No, they don't. We're going to close that gap. We're going to cover everybody in this country. We're going to cut costs for millions of Americans. And that child, right now, that has to sit on the other end of the phone, their mother has to listen to an insurance company decide the health of their child. That is never going to happen again.
Mr. Gibbs, okay, I'm out of time with you tonight. I wish I could have asked you why there's no public option and why is your base leaving this president. I think that that's something the White House needs to address. I really appreciate your time tonight, and I'm
happy to come back and do this often.
Let's do it. Well, you can do it tomorrow night if you want to. I got time for you anytime. I appreciate your time.
I will see you tomorrow night.
All right. Thanks so much. All right. I might have just hit a little too close to home there. I look forward to tomorrow night's interview because I want to know what the White House reaction is to the base that is disgruntled. Are they going to be able to navigate through their agenda with the base all upset? Coming